Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Thank you so much for inviting me, Walter. Impressed to be here. I was told that not everybody knows what Bertelsmann is doing. What a surprise. So I want to talk today a little bit about the enterprise perspective and also the paradigm shift. We've heard a lot about the initiatives and how we can use blockchain. And as you maybe heard, I'm not only responsible for the Web3 part, but now I changed the LinkedIn game to Innovation Lead Emerging Tech. Why did I do this?
I don't know. I was having dinner
it starts
at a
already.
friend's house, this director, and he had some kids, and there was like a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old, and they hadn't seen the film The Matrix. And so the director's like, well, why don't you just tell them what it's about? So I start to say, well, there's this guy who's in a kind of virtual world, and he finds out that there's a real world, and he's really questioning what's real and not real, and he really wants to know what's real. And the young girl was like, why? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, who cares if it's real? And I was like, what, you don't care if it's real? And she was like, no.
Isn't that wild?
It's awesome.
This is sometimes, I think, how people tell me that I act when I'm on stage or when I talk to them, like this astonishing time that we are in of really living this paradigm shift from what is real. I mean, who watched The Matrix? Maybe not in the 90s, but later. So you all are familiar with this concept of these two pills. And in the 90s, it felt very strange that there could be something digital that was actually worth something. And now we live in a world where we sometimes, especially when we talk about Gen Z or Gen Alpha, we pay more for our virtual assets than we do for our physical assets. So yeah, this is kind of wild, and it also shows us why we now have to re-evaluate what digital assets mean and how we can also create ownership of them. So, and yeah, here's the promised slide that I was supposed to bring, so that you get a little introduction of why I moved from the gallery world to the enterprise world, and why, in my opinion, that wasn't such a strange move. Bertelsmann actually is the biggest media company in Europe. You see RTL, you all might know, also BMG Music. I was super happy when Jennifer Lopez joined us last year, and Penguin Random House as the biggest publisher worldwide. And you see, I work in this little group, Arvato. Actually, most employees are in the Arvato group for logistics, IT, and also financial services. So it's kind of the digital backbone that we build, that we all live on nowadays. And we are talking about sustainability, health, education. You see on the right side, although it's in German, some of it, this is what we are investing into most at the moment, interestingly. Also being a media company, Bertelsmann has realized that the future, especially of health and education, is what we see has to be built, and from various perspectives. So, well, and this is the interesting part. You saw that we are already a very decentralized company, let's say it like this, and now it's all about orchestration and how to put it. And I've now brought this little device onto the stage because it's all about like being interconnected, and we haven't talked about AI today. I think there hasn't been a conference yet where I haven't heard the word Gen AI like 1,000 times, so I have to do it now. And do you see this fabulous Ray-Ban sunglasses here? Actually, it's not only sunglasses. Who has heard about the Meta Ray-Ban? Yeah, I already see some hands coming. Did you buy one of those? Does anyone own one of those? Because it's quite interesting. This is like, after the show, I always have to give it to everybody. It has an amazing sound, a lot better than the AirPods. And also it has this little camera feature. Do I have your consent to take a picture now? Is that okay? I will not use it. just you see what happens. And now this is a picture, okay? This we all know. I could also have done it with my phone. But in the United States, this is already connected with an AI, Llama, from Meta. So then it will tell me a lot about the reality that I see. Imagine blind people, we're talking about inclusion. So suddenly an AI tells me what my reality looks like. And here it becomes interesting. I mean, most of you might have seen the picture. Did anyone of you think that's real? Like, wow, he's got a new designer. That's so cool. I don't know. I was told by a designer, by the way, oh my God, that was so fake. But I thought, well, he looked fancy in some kind of way. And maybe you also have seen this device, the Human AI pin, which was, I think, presented at the New York Fashion Week. It's a disaster, by the way, and I understand why, because this little device, even in the demo, didn't tell a lot of true things. When asked where to watch the solar eclipse in 2024 best, it answered Australia. Well, it wasn't even to be seen in Australia, it was in North America. So imagine that you trust this device because you have no source where you really can figure out whether this is true or not. And this is something you have seen, we're a media company, we have a lot of IP, and now we have this little black box called ChatGPT, Llama, whatever, Mistral, if you go to Europe, and we don't really know what's happening in there. So how can we protect our IP? And now I want to come back to the next hype word thing. I think that decentralized systems can help a lot controlling what we now call the AI or large language models. And this is very interesting because we're talking about digital identities, but so far only for humans. But there's no next layer. There's IoT. There's things that tell us a lot about who they are, what they are, and they act as players in these games. So I now brought, there are many examples for decentralized physical infrastructure networks, and one of them is Fetch AI. It's most popular in Germany because Telekom and Bosch are participating in there amongst others. We heard about the DAO for electric vehicles, and this is also what they are basically doing. It's verifying that the agent, the AI, has like a timestamp. You know, in the past, when workers came and entered the factory, they had to put a timestamp. And now, what about having the AI put a timestamp or verification somewhere so that we know what she or he or whatever we name it is actually doing? For me, it's always a he, but some like Sky, she had to be put away because it was the voice of Scarlett Johansson, so we already had the IP case there. But now having this track in a transparent way where everybody knows, oh, so this is what this AI is doing. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Is it good? Is it the better AI? I think this is a very good concept of making it transparent to everybody and also maybe in a way more controllable. And the next step is, of course, our data. Is anybody still on Facebook? I know. Yeah. Okay, cool. Maybe Instagram. No, nobody's on Instagram. Oh my God! No, don't lie. You're on Instagram. So Meta owns a lot of our data. I will not even talk about TikTok because I'm a TikTok fan, and everybody's like, oh no, China has your data, Google has your data, Meta has your data. But do I have my data? Not really. And there's one or more apps that try to find a solution to that. One of them is Farcaster, that is quite popular in the Web3 community at the moment. Actually, you have to pay in the beginning. Yes, you have to pay to store your data, but this is a fair point, right? And we are Web3 people here. Anybody on Farcaster? Okay, yeah, great. Have you used the frameworks also? So that you can enter like each application with your own wallet now and you have your data and it's not rented anymore like it used to be, so that Instagram can just say, well, I didn't like your pictures, so We delete your account even though you have 1 million followers, we don't care. This is threatening sometimes, especially if you do a lot of social media like I do. It's like, well, what if they delete my account? And in this case, you pay for your account, and with this account, you can enter the different frameworks. And for me, also when it comes to healthcare and more implications in the future, what about my data that they collect there? Can they just sell it to pharma, or do I also get a share out of it? Can I control who sees my data and who doesn't? I think this is a very, very interesting and valid concept for the future to get more transparency, more trust, and an idea of what data actually means, and becoming part of a community, because it feels good. We're talking about DAOs. Why do we even need DAOs? Because at the moment, with the geopolitical implications, it often feels like we are out of power. We'll talk about this on the panel later. And I think these initiatives make you at least feel that you get back a little bit of your ownership, your governance, and can participate a little bit more. At least I want to show you 2 cases from the media world where this worked, in my opinion, very, very well. Fremantle is also part of Bertelsmann, and they already started using blockchain 3 years ago during the hype in 2021 with a popular show, American Idol in Germany. It's Deutschland sucht den Superstar. And you know, you have these artists and they perform on stage, and then you can vote, and some have to go and some go to the next level. And if you made it to the next level actually, and you bought one of those NFTs that was being done with Theta, it was a utility token, just here, legal disclaimer and everything. You actually had the chance to win the golden ticket and visit the last show. So it was supposed to be like a fan ticket for the existing community, but it was 2021, 2022, so all the NFT hunters came in as well. And suddenly these tickets, well, they raised in value, and I think they had to stop it because they claimed it's a utility token, but then it gained too much worth, and you know, United States, etc. We will talk about regulations. So it was actually stopped, unfortunately. I think it's a very cool thing, also for fandom, for ticketing, that you get rewards. Eintracht Frankfurt is doing this in Germany, by the way. Every time you visit, you get an extra ticket to have a chance to win, I don't know, shirts or something like this. And I started collecting them too. It's very funny. I'm traveling through all the stadiums, so they are also kind of seeing that there might be something in NFTs. And another case when it comes to ownership is Movieverse. Anybody heard of that project from Warner? It's so cool because we're always looking for the business cases, and you know, despite being the good ones, we also want to be the ones that make a little bit of money. You know, that's energy as well. So the interesting part about Movieverse was that for the first time you had a digital library where you actually own what you buy. If you now buy a movie on Amazon, it doesn't belong to you. You can watch it. In case they say, well, you can't watch it in Germany anymore or in Austria, you cannot watch it anymore. It's the same with streaming and everything. You pay, but you have no ownership. You cannot resell it. Like in the past, there was this thing called DVD or CD, and if you didn't want to listen to it anymore, you say, hey, well, I go to the flea market and maybe I get €2 for it, so that's kind of a cool thing. But it doesn't exist in the digital world yet. So it was very cool that Warner Brothers started this idea. And now it also saves you a lot of space, by the way. You know, if you have all these, does anybody have like these DVD collections? And then at some point you don't know where to put them anymore, but you want one more Disney movie. So this is all happening digital. And yeah, coming back to this paradigm shift, in my opinion, we need next to the centralized storage, also the decentralized storage to really extend how we can progress into a digital future, how we can also ensure that AI is safer or more controllable in a way, and that we all stay interconnected in a transparent and trustful way. I hope this is not too small to read, but just summarizing this all together. I think also for enterprises, looking at what is going on in the world right now, it's very important to come from this competitive state to a more collaborative state. To also see that we need to solve bigger problems together, facing what's coming there, and that we don't even really know what's coming. And I'm really hoping that also the governments, of course, it's super cool to have regulations, right? We are the best in having regulations in Europe. That's amazing. No, that's a European. But you know, if we imagine that it's not just regulations, but being an orchestrator, where you can direct so that everything is going in a smooth way together. I think this is one of the things that would be really, really cool. And it is hopefully happening. And then the last thing, cross-industry integration. And now a little shill from my side. Future Meets Industry is my circle that I do with Bertelsmann Tech and Data and Deloitte. So everybody who works in an enterprise, big corporate, we meet regularly, like every 3 months together with the innovation leads and CMOs and people who always want to do the fancy stuff like me. And then we look for synergies, like, hey, we want, this is like really cool. And we sit together, we talk, and in the evening we have a nice party. And then we see like that we're not so far apart from one another. And that even if Telecom and Vodafone sit together on one table, it's more of a collaborative state than a competitive state. And this I really hope to see more also on the European level, because I think that we can actually achieve better things together. If you want to follow me, I'm very happy. Connect with me on LinkedIn or talk to me. I will be here also for the Blockchain Awards tonight and over the day. Thank you very much for listening. And yeah, then I think we directly switch into the panel or so. I don't know.